Okay, guys. We're going to be working on today is a unit 4. It's going to be 4.4, and it is going to be dividing with decimals. Okay. So this should be in your notes. We're going to just do a few problems and then get working in our workbook. Because the big thing is it's dividing. The only thing different is you have a decimal. Okay. So a couple things I want you to remember is you're going to be dividing normally. Okay, so that's the big thing that I want you to understand. Okay, so you're going to be dividing normally. Nothing crazy, nothing different. Okay, so for example, and this is by a 1-digit divisor today. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a 2-digit divisor, but today's just 1. So that's why we're going to baby step it in there. Okay, so for example, if I had 7 and 71/100 divided by 3. Okay, so we're going to divide normally. The big thing is that you must do is you're going to simply move up your decimal from the dividend to the quotient. What is quotient? It's your answer. Okay, so you're literally just doing that. Okay? Okay, that's where I'm moving it up. Sorry. All right. So how many times can 3 go into 7? 2. 2 times 3 is 6. How many times can 3 go into 17? 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. 2, bringing down my 1. How many times can 3 go into 21? 7 times, with nothing left over. Okay? So, on this, I would simply say that 771/100 divided by 3 is 2 and 57/100. How can I check? How do I know? What's the inverse of division and its multiplication? 2 and 57/100 times 3. 21, 2, 15, 16, 17. Carry my 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. Tenths, hundredths, tenths, hundredths. Okay? Once again, you're dividing normally, and you're only moving up your decimal from the dividend into the divisor, into the quotient. Okay? All right, next problem. Lots of markers. 88 2/10 divided by 9. What do I say? Move up the decimal. 9 goes into, 8 cannot be divided by 9. 88 can be divided by 9. 9 times. 9 times 9 is 81. Subtract. That's 7. Bringing down my 2. How many times can 72 go into 9? Let's see. 8 times. 8 perfect times. We move nothing. So once again, how do I check? Do the inverse, which is 9 and 8/10 times 9 wholes. That's 72. Carry my 2. My 7. 81. Plus 7 is 88. 1. There we go. Division. Division, division, division. Now, I will say that you might have an instance where, for example, okay, here we go. Moving it up. How many times does 4 to go into 32? That's 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract. Bring down my 6. How many times can 4 go into 6? 1 time. Okay. So, you cannot put a remainder here, okay? Because as I was saying, when you're looking at this answer, it already has a part of a whole. A remainder is what's left over. It's the part, which in other words for part is fractions and decimals. So what I have here is already a part. I can't say 8 1/10 remainder 2. Can't say that. So what you're doing with your decimal is if you ever have a leftover in the sense of just my regular division problem is being divided, you have to continue that. And we've talked about this when you're dividing and any kind of fractions. You can make numbers smaller, okay? So if I divide my 10th, can I divide a 10th? Absolutely, I can divide a rod. What do I divide a rod into? Hundredths. So I'm going to make it in the hundredths place because I can make a 10th into a hundredth. Now, have I changed the value of my number simply adding a 0? No, I have not. Okay? So, I'm going to start the process over because I can't have 8 1/10 remainder 2. Cannot have a remainder with a decimal. You cannot have a remainder when you're dividing with decimals. Okay, you cannot have a remainder when you're dividing with decimals. You have to continue breaking it apart. I can take tenths and break it into hundredths. I can take hundredths and break it into thousands. I can take thousands and break it into 10,000s into 100,000s, and so on and so forth. You're just getting a very, very, very specific number. All right, so let's go. What do? I have a number. Oh, look, I'm going to bring it down. How many times can 4 go into 20? 5 times 4 is 20. There's my 0. I'm done. You want to go till you have no remainders. So, we originally had this. It's really not. 8 1/10 times 4 is not this number. It's 8 1500ths. Carry my 2, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or I can say 32 6/10, which was my original answer. Okay? So another one like that. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just go ahead and start working in your workbook? So go ahead and press stop once you get that finished. And we're going to go ahead and go to page 174. Okay, we're on page 174. We're looking at 8 and 6. Oh, you know what? Let's look at number 1. I apologize. So it's already telling you 4 and 9200ths divided by 2 is 246. And I know that that's not correct because I'm dividing with a decimal. Okay? So if we were to put this up, well, either way, you could look at it. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 and 4600ths. Okay? Same thing here. Moving it out. 1, 2. Move it back in my answer. 1, 2. So it's going to be 8 and 600ths. Okay, dividing. Move it up. All of them, move it up. That's your first step, is moving. So how many times can 5 go into 8? Once. Bringing down my 6. So therefore, how many times can 5 go into 36 without going over? 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. 1, bringing down my 5. How many times can 5 go into 15? 3 times. I'm done. So my answer is 1 and 7300ths. Now I know I'm doing this in my workbook right now. Here in a moment you're going to need to do this on notebook paper because you guys can't write as small as I am and we're not going to have that much room when we do our independent practice. Alright, so number 4. 2 and 5200ths divided by 3. Moving my decimal up. 2 cannot be divided by 3, but 25 can. And that's going to be 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Bring down, subtract, then bring down. 3 goes into 12. 4 perfect times. No need to continue on. So my answer is 8400ths. I could even check by 3. 12 carry, 24, 25. 1, 2, 1, 2. But nevertheless, my answer is 84 hundredths. Right here, bringing up my decimal. How many times can 8 go into 9? One time. 17. 8 goes into 17 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. Bring down my 2. How many times can 8 go into 2? Once. What do I do now? I can't say remainder 4 because that's already a part. I can't say 12 and 1/10 with a remainder 4 left over. 4 what's left over? I can't say 4/10 are left over. So you're going to have to take, and your tenths are now going to be divided into hundredths. So it's 20 hundredths. So I'm going to bring down my 4. Or excuse me, the 0 down to the 4. 8. Let's try that again. 40 divided by 8 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. Guess what? So my answer is 12 and 15 hundredths. Again, if you have a remainder, you've got to add your 0 and continue going. And continue splitting it up. Alright, now you're going to turn to page 176. Okay, we're on 176. In 1849, a gold miner had 4 ounces of gold to sell. The store owner offered him $67.68 for the gold. How much will the store owner pay for each ounce of gold? So again, I'm taking my total, 68 hundredths divided by 4. 4 goes into 6 once. How many times does 4 go into 27? 6 times, that's 24. Okay, then I'm going to subtract. Bring that down. Goes into 36. How many times does 4 go into 36? Oh, I forgot to bring out my decimal. 4 goes into 36 9 perfect times. Oh, I sure hope I continue that. 8. Can 4 go into 8 perfectly? Sure can. 2 equal time. So I do not have to finish. So that means I spent $16.92 on each ounce of gold. Alright, a grocery store sells 6 ears of corn for $3.54. Which of the following shows how to find the amount of money that each ear of corn costs the grocery store? So if I want, and they sell this to 6 corns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how much they sell all this. I want to know for each ear of corn. So what is it right here? All of these added together is $3.54. What is it for one? What am I essentially doing? I'm taking $3.54 and I'm dividing them amongst 6 ears of corn. Letter B. Alright, here we go. We're going to skip to 22. A marathon is 26 2/10 miles. Sue wants to run a marathon in 4 hours. What is the average number of miles she must run each hour? So I'm going to take 26 2/10 divided by 4. Bring up my decimal. 4 goes into 26. Let's say 6 perfect times. I say 6 perfect. It's not 6. Bring down my 2. 4 can go into 22 5 times. 5 times 4 is 22. Can I have a decimal? Can I have a remainder and a decimal? No, I cannot. So I'm going to have to add. So I'm going to essentially taking my tenths, breaking it into hundredths, bringing it down, making it even smaller. 4 goes into 20 5 perfect times. So my answer is B. Please be careful of your decimal placements. Once again, division. Nothing new other than the decimals. So now you're going to look at your gold pages. So today, this is what I want you to do. We're going to do something different. I want you to circle 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So essentially, you're doing the odd numbers only. That's incorrect, Miss White. You're doing the even numbers only. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on the front. You're doing all of them on the back. All of them on the back, because I want to see word problems. So you're only having to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 problems on the front. So again, I want you to do this on notebook paper. Solve on notebook paper. Write answers on this page. So if you were to go and do the work, I'm not doing number 2 for you because that's what you're doing. So if you were to do the work on number 1, your answer would be 1 and 600. So you would write your answer here. So I want you to solve it. I want you to write your answer for number 2 here. I want you to solve it, write your answer for number 4 here, number 8, number 6. Please pay attention. We have a missing thing. We have a missing a dividend. So what are we going to do with these? We've talked about this. Same thing here. We don't have a missing. We just have your missing answer, which is your quotient. So please pay attention. Please come to the teacher table if you have trouble. Please make sure this goal page is done and turned in. All problems on the back. Even numbers only on the front.